Apple has been pushing the iPad, and the iPad Pro specifically, as a computer that can replace a laptop for many users, or be the first computer for those who'd never used a laptop before. The company has been at the top of its game when it comes to CPUs, so we wouldn't be surprised if the new iPad Pro models actually deliver in terms of performance. But how does the overall package hold up? More importantly, will their increased price tags hurt them, especially in India? We put the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro model through its paces to find out. The big story with the new iPad Pro models is the removal of the home button. The bezels are slimmer than before but still noticeable, which is not such a bad thing because they still have enough room for you to hold the iPad without having to worry about accidental touch input. What's more, the bezels mean that Apple was able to integrate the front camera and Face ID sensors without having to resort to an iPhone X-like notch. Unlike the iPhone's, Face ID on the iPad works no matter which way you're holding the tablet, which is a necessity given people can and do use tablets in different orientations. What's even more impressive is that it's been implemented using a single set of sensors, just like on the iPhone. There are a couple of things to keep in mind though. Just like the new iPhone models, you can tap the iPad Pro to wake the screen, though Raise to Wake is not supported, which was a bit of a surprise. We hope a future software update brings an option to change this behavior. Given all the different ways that people pick up an iPad, if it so happens that your hands end up covering the Face ID sensor, the iPad shows a camera-covered message on the screen with an arrow indicating the position of the camera, since it might not be clear to everyone which camera is being talked about. When you're using the iPad Pro connected to the new Smart Keyboard Folio, you can simply press the spacebar to activate Face ID and unlock the iPad. Pressing it one more time will push the lock screen away, which is the equivalent of swiping up on the screen. If you're out of the camera's range when you do that, you will see a message that says face too far away, indicating that you should move closer. While Face ID worked as expected in most cases, even a few days into using this iPad, it hasn't disappeared into the background like it does with the iPhone. At this point into our time with the iPhone X last year, we had just forgotten about Face ID and come to appreciate its seamless performance. That's certainly not the case with the iPad Pro, and so far at least, we're certainly mindful of its presence. With the home button gone, the gesture-based UI is the only way to find your way around the iPad Pro. Just like on the newer iPhones, the gestures feel natural and we got used to them pretty quickly. Flipping between apps is essentially fun and easy to do on the iPad's bigger screen. When the iPad Pro first came out, one of the headlining features was the support for Apple Pencil. There was no easy way to store the original Apple Pencil with the iPad, even if you bought the Smart Keyboard, which often meant that you wouldn't have it with you when the need arose. The second generation Apple Pencil seems to have been designed keeping in mind that it is first and foremost a companion to your iPad. It sticks magnetically to the iPad, which means you are most likely to have it with you at all times. The pencil also no longer needs to be plugged into the iPad for pairing or charging. You simply place it on the iPad and it's automatically paired. What's more, you will see a small message popping up on the screen showing you the pencil's battery level and to indicate that it is now being charged. The new pencil cannot be used with the older iPad models, and the old pencil won't work with the newer tablets either. The pencil will stick to one of the sides of the iPad Pro, the top one when you have the iPad Pro in landscape mode with the Smart Keyboard Folio attached. This side has a little area in the middle that's used to wirelessly charge the pencil. You don't need to worry about trying to align the pencil with the area, as magnets will ensure it automatically snaps into the right place. The hold of the magnets is strong enough that the pencil doesn't fall out of place during day-to-day use, including when you carry the iPad around in a bag. The Smart Keyboard Folio now covers both the front and the back of the iPad, a change from the previous Smart Keyboard, which only covered the screen when closed. This eliminates the need to buy a separate back cover for the iPad, which we believe is a welcome move, but not everyone may welcome the additional bulk. You now get two viewing angles, with one of them optimized for working on a desk, and the other one for when you have the iPad Pro on your lap, according to Apple. We wish the keyboard had a bit more travel to it and the keys were backlit, but we realize that may not be possible without adding significant depth or weight and increasing battery consumption. Now, like before, the Smart Keyboard Folio draws all the power it needs from the smart connector and doesn't need to be charged. Without the keyboard cover, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro Wi-Fi plus cellular model is nearly 60 grams lighter than its predecessor, and at 5.9mm, it's 15% thinner as well. It's also nearly a full inch shorter than the previous generation model, which makes it a little bit more manageable. This is a welcome move, as the previous 12.9-inch iPad Pro was rather ungainly for use as a tablet, that is, when not propped up with a keyboard. Arguably the most interesting change in the new iPad Pro models is the decision to ditch the Lightning port in favor of a USB Type-C port. This enables some additional use cases like connecting cameras directly to the iPad instead of requiring a Lightning to USB camera adapter. The iPad Pro does support USB 3.1 Gen 2 and that's capable of hitting speeds up to 10 Gbps, so you should benefit from faster data transfers. Controversially, the iPad Pro does not have a headphone socket. In our opinion, this feels like a bigger miss on the iPad than on the iPhone, since the device is geared for pro use. What's more, Apple does not bundle a Type-C to 3.5mm adapter or even a Type-C to Type-A dongle in the iPad Pro box. All you get is the iPad Pro, an 18-watt charger, a Type-C to Type-C cable, and the usual literature. As before, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro has a 264 ppi, 2732 by 2048 resolution display, though it gets the new Liquid Retina name we first saw on the recently launched iPhone XR. This fully laminated display with its anti-reflective coating is up there with the best LCD panels we've ever seen, and like earlier iPad Pro models, it supports True Tone color adjustment, Pro Motion with a refresh rate of up to 120Hz, and a wide color gamut. The new iPad Pro is powered by Apple's brand new A12X Bionic chip, an enhanced version of the 7nm 64-bit A12 SoC inside the latest iPhone models. Just like the A12, the A12X has an octa-core CPU consisting of 4 high-performance and 4 high-efficiency cores. This is backed by the M12 core processor and a 7-core GPU that claims to offer twice the performance of the A10X Fusion in the previous iPad Pro. The A12X marks the iPad's debut of an on-device neural engine which is capable of 5 trillion operations per second. Apple says that this enables enhanced performance in areas like AR, where stitching together photos or videos, and even while doing simple fun stuff like creating memojis, which also makes an appearance on the iPad for the first time. All this power combines to offer an experience that's up there with and often exceeds what you'd get with using a laptop. General web browsing, checking email, writing documents, and even gaming are all smooth, but all that's hardly a surprise with a brand new Apple device. Gamers and those who enjoy reading graphic novels or comic books will especially appreciate the extra screen real estate the larger iPad Pro offers. Now sure, iOS has its limitations. There's no support for external storage, for example, and a frustrating number of third-party apps have still not been updated to let you use them side by side on the iPad Pro to maximize your productivity. But it's entirely possible for many people to do most, if not all of their work on an iPad Pro. With that said, there are plenty of edge cases. There's no way to download one or more files, for example, unless the link is from a cloud service such as Dropbox or Google Drive. Many tasks that would be simple on a Windows or Mac OS machine will need third-party apps or complex shortcuts to accomplish on iOS. What this means is that most users who've grown up using a Mac or a PC will almost always find it simpler to work on a real computer. On the flip side, users who don't necessarily have the same history with computers will likely find that the iPad Pro works just fine for the most things they would want from a machine. Though Apple doesn't officially disclose the amount of RAM inside iOS devices, benchmarks showed that our 1TB iPad Pro had 6GB of RAM. That's the most RAM shipped on any iOS device, and this means you are more likely to find the document or web page ready for you when you switch back to an app without waiting for it to reload. The iPad Pro has a total of 8 audio drivers, 4 woofers and 4 tweeters, configured in a woofer-tweeters pair near the 4 corners of the screen. Apple says that the bass goes to all 4 speakers while the mid and high frequencies come from the topmost speakers, no matter which way you're holding the iPad. The resulting sound is rich and clear, capable of reaching really high volumes without getting distorted. Though the speakers lack a Dolby certification or similar, it's safe to say that this is the best sound we've experienced on a mobile or tablet. Though the iPad Pro now has a USB Type-C port, you cannot connect any USB device to your iPad. You're still very much bound by the limitations of iOS. Connecting an external drive will give you an error. When Apple introduced the Files app on iOS, we'd hope that the next logical step would be letting you read any kind of external drive within the app, but we're obviously not there yet. You can of course connect a camera directly to the iPad or use a dongle or a dock with a card reader to import photos directly onto the iPad Pro. Headphone jacks on dongles worked as expected, though we noticed that in such cases, there's no way to force the iPad to output sound to the internal speakers, even if you don't have any headphones plugged into the dongle. While iOS did not detect Ethernet ports on the multi-port dongles we tried, a standalone monoprice USB to Ethernet adapter worked seamlessly, and an Ethernet section just popped up in settings. Pass-through charging, which is the ability to charge the iPad with a charger plugged into a USB Type-C accessory, worked fine with dongles that supported it. Various card slots built into our dongles, as well as external card readers plugged into USB ports, also worked just fine, with the Photos app firing up and offering to import the pictures on those cards, though we did run into some reliability issues. Apple says that the iPad Pro can now drive external displays of up to 5K resolution, and while we didn't have a 5K display around to test this claim, we did connect our iPad Pro to a Full HD display using the aforementioned dongles and an HDMI cable, and everything worked as expected. When you are on the home screen, the iPad's display is mirrored onto the external screen. Since the aspect ratio of the iPad screen may not exactly match the external display, you might see rather thick bars on either side of the on-screen contents. Developers can choose to instead extend the display and use the external display as a separate space on which to show additional controls or other UI elements. Apple apps like Keynote and GarageBand do this, and though some third-party apps like DJ Pro do as well, most third-party apps that we use simply mirror on the screen. The iPad Pro now supports reverse charging, which means you can use a tablet to charge other devices. There are a few new tricks on the Apple Pencil as well. You can now double tap the lower third of the pencil to trigger certain actions. In the Notes app, for example, you can switch between the pencil and eraser by double tapping, and this behavior can be customized via the settings. Third-party apps can also integrate this functionality with the ability to customize the actions triggered when you double tap. In a move straight out of the Galaxy Note series playbook, you can now tap the pencil on the lock screen to have the Notes app launch and ready to go. This behavior is not enabled by default, but you can go to settings to change that. iOS 12 has not pushed iPad software forward in any meaningful way, which is frustrating given how much better the hardware seems to get with every iteration. For example, we are extremely disappointed to still be restricted to a 4:5 icon layout, even on a 12.9-inch iPad screen, which just leaves too much empty space between the icons on the home screen. The new iPad Pro boasts of better cameras on the front and rear thanks to Smart HDR and some of the improvements that we've seen on the iPhone recently. We also get portrait mode for the first time on the iPad, and it works reasonably well. Interestingly, it's available only on the front camera. Now, this isn't really a problem since we aren't fans of using a tablet as a camera to begin with. If you do use your iPad as a camera, then you will get largely favorable results outdoors when there's plenty of light, though the low light performance is under par. All iPad models till date have delivered on their promise of an all-day battery life, and this one is no different. With light use, you'll easily be able to go on an entire week before you need to recharge your iPad. If you're investing in an iPad Pro, then you probably want to use it for more than that occasional reading, in which case it should last you for a couple of days, with a few hours of use each day. Even if you use your iPad Pro as your only machine, starting a workday at 9 AM and ending it at 6 PM, you should have a bit of juice left in the tank to, say, watch a few videos when you're headed back home. Now, in our HD battery loop test, the iPad Pro lasted for an impressive 14 hours and 7 minutes. Using the bundle 18-watt adapter and a Type-C cable, we were able to charge the iPad Pro's battery from 0 to 100% in about 3 hours and 20 minutes. For the last couple of years, Apple has slowly but steadily been increasing the price of many of its products, almost as if it's looking to see how much more people are willing to pay for the latest and greatest hardware. We've seen that with many products, big and small. Last year's iPhone X was arguably the biggest such experiment, and as we now know, it was a huge success. The iPad Pro comes to India at a starting price of 71,900 rupees for the 64GB 11-inch Wi-Fi only model. Prices go all the way up to 1,71,900 rupees for the 1TB 12.9-inch Wi-Fi plus cellular variant we got for review. While that might seem like a crazy amount of money, we tried to find Windows laptops that have 1TB of solid-state storage, and the least expensive one we could find is priced at around 1,85,000, so that iPad Pro price tag isn't as ridiculous as it may sound at first. In terms of raw performance, the entry-level iPad Pro will almost certainly outshine any equivalent laptop you can get at around the same price. If you can live with the limitations we've detailed here, and we believe the answer is yes for more people than not, What you will get is a powerful, extremely portable machine with a display that's better than most laptops or 2-in-1s you'd get at that price. One look at India pricing on the Surface Book 2, for example, and the iPad Pro seems to look like a bargain, though Windows is probably a platform most legacy users would be more comfortable with. With iOS in general, and certainly on the iPad Pro, software progress seems to lag behind hardware, and we hope iOS 13 brings more productivity-focused features to the iPad. We would also like to see Apple force the hand of third-party developers to support iPad-specific features that the OS already supports. Of course, we'd never recommend buying hardware on the promise, or in this case, prospect of future software upgrades. So any decision you make on the iPad Pro should be based on the experience we've described as of today. On the accessories front, if you're buying an iPad Pro, we would definitely recommend you get the Smart Keyboard Folio or a third-party equivalent as well. The Apple Pencil 2 is priced at 10,900 rupees, but despite its enhanced utility, we believe it's an optional extra that only artists would really put to use, unless you're someone who prefers taking notes the old-fashioned way. The new design certainly means it's more likely to be used more often. So thanks for watching our review of the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.